The class is in memory of Jared Orchen, and today we are in chapter 54 of the book of Psalms. Chapter 54 can be found on page 149. We'll start with chapter 54 and we'll go from there.
For the leader with stringed instruments, a maskil by David. When the Ziphites came and informed Shaul, behold, David is hiding with us.
Ziphites, Ziph, it was Midbar Ziph, it was a specific desert. It's called Ziph, a place not far from Hebron. Hebron is where the cave of Machpelah, where the forefathers are buried. It was a place that's called Ziph, and King David was hiding from Saul. Saul wanted to kill David for a long time because he was jealous and he knew that he will take him over and he was afraid of him. He was hiding in Ziph, and the people of Ziph came to Saul to give out the secret that David is hiding there. Then David was making a prayer against, so to speak, the people of Ziph who are informing on him. That's what he's talking about. He's praying to God.
O God, save me by your name, vindicate me by your power. O God, hear my prayer, listen to the words of my mouth. For strangers have risen against me, and ruthless men seek my life. They are unmindful of God, Salah. Behold, God is my helper, God is the protector of my life. Repay the evil of my watchful foes, with your integrity cut them down. I will then offer you free will sacrifice. I will thank your name, God, for it is good, for it has saved me from all trouble. My eyes have seen my enemies defeated.
Then the last line is, Mikol tzoro itziloni. From every trouble you have saved me, and my eyes should see in the enemies the defeat of my enemies. It's like he's asking for chesed and gvura at the same time. Save me and punish them.
What's the sacrifice, the free will sacrifice? Was he sacrificing somewhere?
First of all, you were allowed to sacrifice. When there was no temple, you were allowed to offer sacrifices, yeah. Only when there is a temple, you're not allowed to sacrifice in any other places. But when there is, free sacrifice means my own will sacrifice, that I'm not obligated.
But to clarify that, I mean, since the second temple was destroyed, we don't do that.
We are not talking about today, obviously.
Yeah.
Talking about before the building of the first temple.
Right.
And while there was no temple, or the temple was in a temporary place, you were allowed to have build your own monument, your own altar, and offer sacrifices. And even this, it was not through the 369 years of the temple in Shiloh, you were not allowed to do it. And basically only in the intermediary times when there was no temple, it was nothing. In any case, go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm going back and back here with the understanding that everything is here for a reason. This psalm and the next says, for the leader with stringed instruments. What is the significance, if any, of the stringed instruments being mentioned? I'm going back. I'm on 40. I don't see it any other.
You think that's the first time?
I'm trying to confirm this.
I don't
it is
know
likely
if it's,
not. But
I think it's before already.
Okay.
I cannot promise you, but I think it's before. I don't know.
Did
Why-
David play the lyre?
Many
Played the lyre.
The lyre, exactly, yes.
For the maskil, doesn't it make a very mournful sound? Isn't that what it was? There was
A more serious.
it's connected to it's an instrument that's supposed to be very melancholy.
Sound? Yeah.
No.
Could be.
I think
I would imagine it would be a somber kind of note. All right, I'll let you know.
Yeah, please.
I'm going back and back.
Go for it. You'll
I'm
study
on
this
28.
part. Maybe the first one. Chapter 55 is really a very special chapter that speaks about a certain situation with King David. For this, we have to give an introduction what happened there. King David had a son with the name Avshalom, right? Avshalom was one of his oldest sons, I think the third son or the fourth son. And Avshalom was born to a woman, David's wife, that converted. She was not Jewish. And he picked her up in a war. And there is a Jewish law: if you go to war and you see a beautiful woman, you're allowed to take her and marry her. And he converted her. And she gave birth to 2 children, Tamar and Avshalom. And Tamar was very beautiful. There is a whole story how another child of David raped her, Amnon, and then and Tamar was very upset, and Avshalom, her brother, was very upset, obviously. And at one point, Avshalom had a party, killed Amnon for raping Tamar, his sister. In any case, then he ran away from Jerusalem for 3 years. Then somebody came in his behalf, and he begged David to forgive him, and he allowed them back to Jerusalem. And after he allowed them back to Jerusalem, he still didn't want to see him. And Avshalom, at one point, decided to do a revolution against his father David, to throw him off of his throne, and to take over, to do a coup, to take over the kingdom. And he did it. And the most trusted people of David, many of them, joined Avshalom against King David. And Avshalom was standing there, it came to a point when King David heard that, he ran away from Jerusalem. He took his people and he ran away from the city, and trying to pull themselves together. And who was the main man that helped Avshalom? They gave him the big advice. The biggest chochem there was the mind behind the whole revolution, rebellious against King David.
Well, you talked about last time, is it Doug?
No,
Or
somebody very
Achitophel?
Achitophel. Achitophel was the head of the Sanhedrin at that time by David, a very great scholar. Everybody listened to his advice. It was listening to his advice was listening to the word of God. That's how smart he was. But he thought he should be the king. Who is David? He's smarter than David. And therefore he tried a way to get rid of David. He gave Achitophel, he gave Avshalom the idea to rebel against his father. Avshalom started the revolution, and King David had 10 concubines who stayed in Jerusalem in his palace. And Achitophel told Avshalom that if he wants to make a statement that he is the king, he has to have relations with the 10 women. Basically, Achitophel gave him advice that will be irreversible. They can never do peace. He can never undo it. King David ran away, and he did it. And then it was a whole story, how a whole war, in the end of the war, King David, the people of King David won the war. When they went out to war, David told them, be careful, don't kill Avshalom. It's my son. During the war, Avshalom, why was he wanted to be a king? He was very, very beautiful, very handsome, amazing. He was like the perfect king, that he felt he should be the king, not any other of the brothers. He had long ears. He was a very beautiful man. And he was riding on a horse, and suddenly from nowhere, the people of David's army attacked him, and he was caught with his ear in a tree, and the horse ran away. Was hanging in the tree, and he couldn't go anywhere. And they killed him at that time. Now they knew they have a problem with going to tell David that Avshalom was killed. The war was over. The moment Avshalom is killed, there is no war, there is no king, there is no revolution, there is no anything. They called off the war in a second. They came back to David. They told David that Avshalom was killed. David was crying. It was terrible. And he couldn't find any comfort. Even it was the child the son who wanted to kill him. And in the end, the head of the army came in and told them, "We were fighting for you. We were trying to we risked our life to save you. Now that we won the war, you're crying." That he came out and he greeted the people. That's the story with Avshalom. With the story with the revolution from Avshalom against David. While he was running away, King David was praying to God to save him, especially not so much from Avshalom as from Achitophel, from the advisor that gives good advice, but it's really bad advice. You understand what I'm saying? He's smart. Whatever he says works. What happened? The reason why Avshalom didn't win the war because he didn't listen one time to Achitophel. It was a miracle. He one time didn't listen to Achitophel and he lost the war. If he would listen Achitophel when he saw that they don't listen to them, he understood that they will lose the war, and then he understood that he will be persecuted as one who went against the king. He went home, he was the age of 33, I think, and he committed suicide because he knew that they will persecute him.
Who did? Who killed him?
Achitophel.
Didn't
Achitophel killed himself.
Didn't he teach David when he was young?
Yeah, we'll get there. But what I need to say is that was how smart Achitophel was. And he realized that they don't listen to him. He knew that it's going to be trouble. He knew for sure they're going to lose the war. That's that Avshalom did not listen to Achitophel's advice was a miracle. It was another guy in the group who was on David's side who gave Avshalom a bad advice, and Avshalom accepted the bad advice, and therefore he lost the war. There's a whole long story. If you want to look in the book of Samuel, you'll see the whole story. In any case, let's start to read it.
For the leader with stringed instruments, a Moscow by David. Second time. Hear, O God, my prayer. Do not ignore my plea. Listen to me and answer me. I cry in my anguish and moan. Because of the sound of the enemy, the oppression of the wicked, for they bring calamity down upon me. They hate me with a passion. My heart trembles within me. Fears and death grip me. Fear and trembling reach me. I am wrapped with horror.
Look in the Hebrew side, the last line of the Hebrew, the second word, the third word. How they say error. Palotzus. You see it? Mm-hmm. You know the word in Yiddish, Platz? Ich Platz? Mm-hmm. This is it. It's in Hebrew. Palotzus, that's what the word means. I can't take it. I'm platzing. It's coming from him. Platzing is really a derivative of the Hebrew word palotzus. Okay. I say, Mark, you want to continue?
I say, would that I had the wings of a dove, I would fly off and find rest. King David says, if I would have wings, I would run away. I can't take it. I don't know where to go. Surely I would flee far off. I would lodge in the wilderness, Salah. I would soon find me a refuge from the raging wind, from the tempest. Confound and divide their language, Hashem. For I see violence and strife in the city. They encircle it within its walls day and night. Evil and oppression are inside it. Evils in its midst, fraud and deceit do not leave its public place.
Okay, 1 second. Evil, which number are you?
12.
Go ahead.
It is not my foe that vilifies me, for that I could bear. It is not my enemy who takes advantage of me, for I could hide from him. But is you, my equal, my captain, my friend.
Here it says, in number 14, but it is you, my equal, my captain, and my friend. Then the Pirkei Avot, it's written in the Ethics of Our Fathers, that he refers to Achitophel. He says, even he was equal to David, he wasn't greater than David, but David respected him like his captain, like his teacher. Alufi could mean in Hebrew a teacher, Alefcho, Chochma. Alefcho means I will educate you. Umiyudoi means my friend, but could also come from the word Yada, Yediah, to teach you, can be my teacher. He says that Achitophel, the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avot, in Ethics of Our Father, that Achitophel, David learned from Achitophel 2 things. And because he learned from him only 2 things, He called them my teacher and my Rebbe. What are the two things that you learned, that King David learned from Achitophel? That he says it right here. The next line, number 15.
We shared confidences together. We walked.
We shared confidence together. Asher Yachtov Namtik Soid. We share things together. What's this confidence that they share together? That the Talmud says, King Achitophel saw how King David learns Torah by himself. That he told them it's not a good idea to learn Torah by yourself. Why not? He says because a person learns Torah by himself, he might make mistake and nobody will ever correct him. You think you're the biggest chochem until your wife comes and tells you you're not. But for the beginning, you think you're the greatest man on earth. When you learn Torah by yourself, you can come to the wrong decisions, to the wrong conclusions, and not even know that you are wrong. You convince yourself that you're right. He says that David asked him, who should I learn with? He says, let's learn together. Have a chavuta, a chavuse. You know what chavuse means? A study partner. When we learn together, we sharpen each other like two knives, like two metal pieces that sharp each other. So too, two people, when they learn Torah, they make sure nobody makes mistakes. They sharpen each other. They don't let each other to make a mistake. That was the first. That's the first thing that he learned from him. Then he told them. Then the verse continue. The next part of number 15. We walked collectively in the house of God. What does this mean? We walk collectively. Bebeis Elohim ne'alech berogesh. Bebeis Elohim. What does this mean? Talmud says that King David once entered the yeshiva, the synagogue, standing like this. That Achitophel told them, this is the house of God. You have to walk in humble, with a humble look. You have to be humble when you walk into a synagogue. Ne'alech berogesh. Beregesh means with fear, with respect, but also with excitement. You're coming to the house of God. Basically, it's not your house. Don't feel it's like yours. There are special laws. You cannot use the synagogue as a crossing point, like to shorten my road. Let's say there is a synagogue that has a door on one block, and the other door goes out to another block. I cannot take it as a shortcut. I cannot use the synagogue as a shortcut. The backyard you could, but not the synagogue. But many people do it. When you walk into a synagogue to ask to call somebody, the law is that you sit down and you say some prayer. You say something. You didn't walk in for nothing. It's the house of God. That this is what we learn from here. Bebet Elokim, in the house of God. Ne'alech berogesh. You should walk in with respect, fear, and regesh also means excitement. Itrakshut. Itrakshut means to be woke up when you walk into synagogue. Not like dead. Oh, I'm walking into synagogue again. Now the word beregesh is an acronym for 4 words. Bet stands for barad. You know what barad is? What's barad? Who knows it? Hail. That when it's raining. Ruach, reish is ruach, stands for ruach.
Spirit.
Wind. Geshem is rain. Sheleg, shin is sheleg. Snow. The idea is to bet Elokim, to the house of God you go when it's hail, and when it's wind, and when it's raining, and when it's snowing. Nothing stops you. It's a good lesson for us in our weather now. And this is what he says.
That or it's the postman.
Yeah, that's right. Either rain or sleet or snow. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Just like the postman,
We got it
exactly.
from here.
That we are we are the true postmen. What is the job of a postman? To take a package and to deliver it. Our job is to take the Torah and to deliver it to the world. Now, just like the postman cannot choose what type of package he likes to deliver and what type of package he doesn't like. This is too heavy. I'll leave it here. This is not important. This is this. He has to deliver every package, no matter what it is. So too, a Jew has to do every mitzvah. You cannot say, this mitzvah is too heavy, this is not important, this is this. No such thing. You're a postman. And you have to deliver every piece of mail. You have to deliver to its place. And no matter when, rain or snow, regesh, barad, hail and rain and wind and snow, no matter what, you have to do it. These are the two things that King David learned from Achitophel. And therefore he respected Achitophel to a point that when Achitophel was around, he didn't offer his advice. There is a law that says that if you're in front of your Rebbe, somebody comes and asks a question in front of your Rebbe, you don't offer a ruling, you let your Rebbe answer. That's Jewish law said it. That King David in front of Achitophel didn't offer a ruling. That's how far it went. And Achitophel used to insult him, used to call him Ben Ishai, the house of Jesse, the son of Jesse. He didn't call him David. You saw the son of Jesse? Like you call a child, oh, you are the son of so-and-so? And things like this. That's what happened with Achitophel. That was the Achitophel guy, and he gave the bad advice. Let's continue. Number 16. You want to continue?
May he incite death against them. May they descend alive to the grave, for evil is in their dwelling within them. As for me, I will call to God, and God will save me. Evening, morning, and noon, I pray and
I will call to God, and God will save me. And now he comes and he says, evening, morning, and afternoon. Continue.
I pray and moan, and he hears my voice.
I pray. From here we learn something very important. You know what's prayers? When Jewish people started to pray?
Way back then, 3,000 years ago.
Really?
Some.
Whenever you had needs.
Petitionary prayer.
Yeah, we're now praying 3 times in the morning, afternoon, we have a minyan, right? We don't go to shul, we don't. When this started?
Oh, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You
Really?
see that? Well, it's already probably
They
before
daven
that.
3 times a
After
day.
the
Well,
sacrifice. after
No,
the
because the
sacrifice.
evening prayer didn't start until Yaakov,
Yeah.
with the,
Daniel.
putting his head on the rock and seeing the dream. That's the evening prayer starting. So
All of the above is true.
After
Now,
the sacrifices.
the Jewish people, by the end of the first temple, when the Jews start to move outside of Israel, then the concept of prayer started to establish itself. The people of the Great Assembly put together the Amidah. Before that, it was, it's written that Daniel used to daven in the afternoon,
3 times.
3 times a day, right? Then when the rabbis established prayers, there's a big argument in the Talmud, 2 opinions. What are the prayers? Who established the prayers? Do we pray because instead of sacrifices, 3 times a day, used to be a morning sacrifice, then used to be an afternoon sacrifice, then the leftover of the sacrifice is to burn at night. That's why we have 3 prayers a day. Or we daven because of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, what does this mean? It doesn't mean that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob daven 3 times a day. Abraham, it's written 1 time, davened in the morning to God. Vayashkem Avram b'boker. It's written the story after he saw the destruction of Sodom. He stood there in the morning, and the Talmud says, from here we learn, Abraham established the concept to pray to God in the morning. Isaac, it's written when Rebecca came back, arrived from Haran, from Aram Naharaim, she saw Isaac going out to pray in the field in the evening before sunset. That means he established the concept, the time of prayer in the afternoon. Jacob went to sleep with the story with the ladder that he saw in the dream before that he prayed to God. Then they established the times for prayers. Morning, afternoon, evening. It doesn't mean that they actually pray 3 times a day. Could be, but it's not written. Now, then we have morning, afternoon, evening. The question when we daven today, do we daven because of the forefathers or we daven because of the sacrifices? Both of them are true. You understand what I'm saying? King David already writes, this is much before the rabbis established the idea of 3 times prayers a day, ערב ובוקר וצהריים. I daven evening, morning and afternoon. 3 times a day.
Is there any order there that means anything?
Yes, there is a whole discussion here. Here it says evening, morning and afternoon, right? Like the day was created. Vayi erev, vayi boker, it was evening, it was morning. Like Shabbos starts in the evening, Friday night is the first service, Shabbos morning the second service, Mincha is the third service, right? But usually, we say that we pray 3 times a day, with Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. Morning, afternoon, evening, right? We don't say, Abraham is not the night, Abraham is the morning. The service starts in the morning. And even we say according to sacrifices, we say that the sacrifice is morning sacrifice, afternoon sacrifice, and the leftover. The point is, here we see that they start from the evening, they count the day from the evening, and the way the Talmud puts it, it starts from the morning. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Then what's the right order of the prayer? What's the main prayer? When we start the prayer of the day? In the evening or in the morning?
Good morning.
What's prayer number 1?
Morning, Modani.
The big morning of the main prayer of the day is the morning. That's how you start. That's why it's the longest prayer. That's why that's the prayer that we put on film and we wear a talis. The other prayers are just a continuation. It's a reinforcement of the morning prayer. We sleep, we wake up in the morning, that's how it starts the day. Now, in a certain point, it starts from the evening. When you think about what you need, then that's more, but it's a whole other discussion. But in general, the prayers go by the morning, afternoon, evening. That's how the regular order of prayer, just like sacrifices. It's to be the morning sacrifice, the evening sacrifice.
Well, if the Jewish night is the beginning of the Jewish day, then it makes sense. Nightfall is the beginning of
I know, that's a discussion, that's a question, how you go. Here it's written evening, morning and afternoon. In the sacrifices we go in morning and afternoon. That's two sides, ultimately there is 2 sides of a prayer. Do I pray? What's the reason why we pray? Why we pray?
It's a mitzvah.
Either your needs or you're making a connection with Hashem.
Then the word tefillah could mean also a beseech, that I'm asking from God for my need. That's what every person knows. I'm here for my needs. The deeper meaning of prayer, because for your need, how many times you have to ask you the same thing? What's going on? How long it takes to God to say, I need a villa and a Volvo? And you leave. I mean, it doesn't take much. Done. And now I don't have time, God, to spend here. I need to go out and to make sure I get the villa and the Volvo. But if prayer, tefillah, comes in the word tafel, from word attachment, prayer is about spending time with God. Spend time with your wife, you spend time with your kids, you spend time with your friends, you spend time with God. Then when you spend time with God, it's not about what I need, what I ask. I establish a relationship. That's what prayer is all. That's what the higher level of prayer. Now, the world is created evening and then morning. The world is created means what I need, the worldly needs. In this way, it goes evening, morning, and afternoon. The higher level of prayer is like a sacrifice. Sacrifice is not for my need. A sacrifice is for God. What the word sacrifice means? I sacrifice. I give myself. I get closer to God. In this sense, it's more the morning, afternoon, evening, just like in the temple. It starts on the morning. The deeper meaning of prayers is symbolized by the idea that we start in the morning and we continue the afternoon to the evening. The other idea of prayer, that's for my personal need, this is more symbolizes in this line, evening, morning, and afternoon. That's basically the 2 differences. Get it? Well, let's continue. And we are in number 19.
He has redeemed my soul in peace from the battle against me, for many were with me.
Okay, I have to stop here and tell you an amazing story. The first Chabad Rebbe, Reb Shneir Zalman of Liadi, established the Hasidic movement, it was a big opposition to the Hasidic movement in Russia, to a point that other Jews, religious Jews, rabbis, informed them to the government that he's trying to make a revolution against the Tsar.
Just the Vilna Gaon?
Yeah. And they end up to come Chol HaMoed Sukkot one year to arrest him, and they took him in a black chariot that was designated for the biggest enemies of the Tsar. If you arrested in this special chariot, you're not coming back home. And there is many stories. When they're on the way, and it was Friday afternoon, and he said he doesn't want to travel on Shabbos, and they said, "You're a prisoner here. We don't ask you what to do." And one thing broke down, then another thing broke down, then a horse died, and finally they realized that you don't mess around with this guy, and they listened to him, and so on and on. He went there. He was in St. Petersburg, and he had interrogations. And according to some opinion, even the Tsar himself came up in a disguised way, covered up. He came to meet the Rebbe because it came out. Everybody started to hear that he's such a smart man, he's such a weird, genius, and everybody wanted to see him. After 53 days in jail, he was released from jail. That he writes in his letter that while he was reciting this line, number 19, in the book of Psalms, Pada beshalom nafshi, he has redeemed my soul in peace from the battle against me, they came in to tell him that he's released. While he used to say Psalms in jail, a lot of Psalms. He used to say Psalms in jail. The book of Psalms is divided to 30 days. That every day of the month you can say one piece, around 5 chapters, and this way you cover the whole book of Psalms every month. It's also divided into 7 days of the week. Then he used to say, he said that according to when he was in jail, he said the day of the week, every day, basically in 1 week he finished the whole book of Psalms as a prayer to God. When they came in to tell him that he's released from jail, he was in the line, Pada beshalom nafshi, God has redeemed me from my jail, basically. Then what is he saying? What's written? What the Talmud says about this line? Then he says here, my God, he has redeemed me, redeemed my soul in peace from the battle against me, for many war with me. What means for many war with me? What is King David saying? King David says, the Talmud says something very interesting, that the many war with him, even the soldiers of Absalom, prayed that David should win the war. Even the guys who joined Absalom, because they saw the wind goes this direction, who knows, if Absalom is winning, then I'm in big trouble. In the heart, they prayed David should win. That means even your enemy wants your success. The person that you think is your enemy is really not your enemy. He's actually deep down, he loves you. He prays for you. That's an amazing thought that the people of Avshalom were praying for David. Now the Talmud says, how you redeem how you redeem your soul? Pada beshalom nafshi. The Talmud says a very interesting statement on this line. Anybody who is learning Torah, not learning Torah, who is occupying himself in Torah and in deeds of kindness, and he prays in a minyan, God considers him like he redeemed him. He redeemed God from exile. That means you bring a certain level of redemption to God when a person occupies himself with Torah and in good deeds, and he prays. The three pillars that the world stands on. The world stands on 3 pillars: Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim. Torah means learning Torah. Avodah means to serve God. That's prayers. And Gemilut Chasadim is acts of kindness, to help others, charity. in other any ways of this, and it represents the three forefathers, right? Abraham was known for what?
That's a
Kindness. Isaac was known for what?
core.
Strictness.
Sure.
I know. What was Isaac known for?
Introvert, that he dug wells.
I thought you wanted the answer.
Judgment.
What was Isaac? What is known for the most?
Means
Oh, he was a
sacrifice.
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 A burnt
What is
offering, a
sacrifice?
burnt offering.
What is today's sacrifice? How you replace sacrifice? Prayers. That's Isaac. And Jacob was known for his learning Torah. Then these three forefathers represent, once again back to the forefathers, like the three prayers, that's in the same theme again and again. And these are the three that, and that's when a person is doing to these three things, he has to do, he has to be able to redeem God, to bring a certain level of redemption to the world. You have to do these three things. What means to do these three things? He said, the Talmud doesn't say to learn Torah. The Talmud say to occupy yourself with the Torah. You know the difference between learning Torah and occupying yourself with the Torah? What's the difference?
You learn it's superficial, and to engage it in your life, to
Is concept.
Occupy is to do it.
to do it. to
You're,
live
you're,
it,
you're
to
immersed in
incorporate
it. You
What's
occupy
your occupation?
your job?
It's on your mind.
It's on your mind. And it's your occupation. You don't sleep at night.
Take
right?
it with you.
You take it with you. That's the word. That's exactly the word. Number one, it's not from 9 to 5, basically. You go home, it's with you, you sleep with it, you cannot sleep because of your job, right? And that's number one. That's what occupation is all about. Number two, with your occupation, you're ready to sell it. If you sell something, you believe in your product. You learn Torah, it has to be a Torah that you believe that everybody wants to buy it. If you learn Torah and you say, who wants to learn Torah? Why should they want? It's not relevant to life. That you're learning Torah, but it's not your business. The Torah has to become your business. Only when the Torah becomes your business, it's really yours. And you're not an employee in the Torah. You're a business, you're owner. That's what the Talmud is saying. And you do acts of kindness. And also we pray with a minyan. Why it's so important to pray with a minyan?
It draws down the Shina, that there's a connection. That
Why? Huh?
Community.
What's so special about community?
we're all
Right.
united. We unite together. We become one.
What?
We become one. We unite.
Unite, yeah. How you say community in Hebrew? Kehila, that's good, very good. But there is another word. Group of people, how you say? Tzibur. Tzibur? Tzibur means crowd. Tzibur, we have here 10?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do, brother. Yeah.
11.
11.
You're right. By the way, for learning Torah, you don't need 10 men above Bar Mitzvah. 10 Jewish people have a certain power of learning Torah more than individuals. We will learn one day about it. There is a very important thing about learning Torah in public. Not just to, like Achitophel told David, but learning Torah with a minyan is a very special power, more than learning Torah in individual. Because when you learn Torah with 10, the Shekhinah, there is a higher level of godliness, presence in the room. Wherever you learn Torah, in a private house or in this, learning Torah with 10 Jews together is an unbelievable power. And they don't have to be men above Bar Mitzvah. That's for minyan, that's for prayers. Any 10 Jews, 10 children, 10 adults, 10 men and women, whatever, any 10 Jewish people in the room, and therefore we should start to collect minyans for learning Torah. And for this, it's not only men, everybody. If 10 women learn Torah, 10 children learn Torah.
Even in the bar?
Anywhere you go, if they learn Torah, even 10 Jews who don't learn Torah are also have a special power. Now, the word tzibur stands for tzadikim, beinonim, vereshaim. Righteous, intermediate people, and wicked people. When you can reach God, not only when you unite with people that you think are weak people, I mean sinful people, terrible people, and you join them, then it's a minyan. Then you can connect to God. There is the Ktoret. The Ktoret is the incense they used to offer in the temple. Used to be one of the ingredients that they put in the incense used to stink. And they say without this stinky incense, the incense is not kosher. Why? The Talmud tells us we need this chelbana. In every minyan we need the one stinky guy. If not, it's not a minyan. A minyan of 10 righteous people? We don't need them. Get out of here.
It's like Sukkot, we had the
Because what's a meaning of 10 righteous people? What the problem with this? They worry only about themselves. We are all righteous here. Haha, so good. A clean neighborhood. We don't have all these bad guys. It's beautiful. Only with us, our friends. Then it's nothing to do with God. It's nothing to do with caring for others. We need a chelbana. You have to collect one. You have to pay somebody to come, the bad guy, to make the minyan worthwhile. Thank God I don't think we need to commission guys. Baruch Hashem, in every minyan we have a few. But the point is,
Would you care to elaborate?
Can you volunteer?
I am here. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here every morning. I get up so early in the morning just for this. Many times it's like to get up. Oh my God, that's painful it is. That's what he says, Pada b'shalom nafshi. To redeem God, bring redemption to the world, is when you occupy with these three things. Now we'll go to number 20. May God
hear and humble them, who is enthroned from time immemorial, Selah. Those who do not regard their end and do not fear God. He stretched out his hands against those who were in peace with him. He dishonored his friendship.
Thus he talks again about Achitophel. He stretched out his hand against those who were in peace with him, and he dishonored his friendship. Go ahead.
His speech was smoother than butter, but his heart was at war. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords.
That's it. It describes Achitophel. Doeg and Achitophel, we spoke about Doeg last week in Achitophel, they're the two bad guys in the Talmud. It's like they're the people you can trust, the people who are gossiping, or the worst.
Would Ahithophel be considered the traitor since he backed Avshalom?
Sure, he's a traitor. Yeah,
He's the Benedict Arnold. He's the he's the Benedict Arnold. He's the Josephus. He's the
everywhere.
The Judas. Every character models themselves.
After Achitophel, exactly. Yeah. Josephus, it's a perfect example. Even that you know that in the religious world, Josephus is not looked so bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know that that's an exact analogy.
No, I mean the world looks on Josephus as a traitor and everything, but after all, they bring him, they quote him in the Talmud, and the Rashi quotes him, and not the Tosfot. And it's like somewhere in between. But I understand. That's what he talks about.
Remind me who he is again. So he's not.
He's the guy from the Romans. No, what all the history of the Jews through the Roman time. He will tell you later.
He's the Jewish general who gets defeated by the Romans, who then is used as the intermediary to try and negotiate the surrender of Jerusalem.
But he records the history.
Yeah. After that, he records the history, four major works.
The religious writings believe his history in general. Other people say, he wrote it for them. He wrote it to please them. It's true that he probably softened things out and things, but in general, we believe him. I mean, we take it. Okay, number 23.
Cast your burden on God, and he will sustain you.
Cast your burden on God, and he will sustain you. You know what this means?
Well, I mean, we heard the Redeemer before. Is this the rock part? The rock, you're my rock and my Redeemer?
It means that you're going to trust in that whatever comes out is going to be for your good.
You know,
it's strength.
When I used to ask my father, my father and I had a big family. Kind of a big family. I used to ask him, are you not worried about this or about that? He used to tell me, I should worry. Me. When he was 12 years old, he ran away from the Nazis. Then he ended up in Russia. By the age of 19, he tried to escape Russia, and he was caught, and he was jailed, and he got 25 years in prison, in the gulags, in Siberia. And from 25 years in a prison, you never come out alive. It's just 25 years. One way or another, you'll be killed or died or sick. You're just not going on. After 7 years, 6.5 years, 6 years and 4 months actually, Stalin died, my father was released. He came out from jail, he tells me, who wants to get to marry a fellow guy who came out from jail in Russia? Who will marry me? Where is he going to find a religious goal? Obviously he found one. And he lived in Russia. And the idea to leave Russia, they used to wish themselves, Moshiach will come, we'll leave Russia. Moshiach will come, will be first before we leave Russia. That's how unreal was the unfathomable was the idea of leaving Russia. With 6 children, I was born in Russia, with 6 children, my father left Russia. He tells me, I came to Israel, penniless. He had nothing. 6 children, nothing. Not a job, not a profession, not anything. Somebody taught them a profession how to cut the diamond, and then gave him and he says, now I should worry. He said, I had so many times that I saw how God worried for me. Why should I worry? He said, let God worry. That was his slogan. Why should I worry? Let God worry. Why have time to worry? Let them worry. I'm too busy to worry. That means Ashlech al Hashem Yofcho. Cast your burden on God, and He will sustain you. If you are ready to take it and throw it on God and not worry at all, then He will sustain you. If you take upon yourself, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do, then God says, okay, you can do it. Then go ahead, do it. It doesn't mean we shouldn't do things, but in our mind, we have full trust in God. Throw your peckle on God. That's what it means. My father, he died, he was 86 and 4 months. I believe that the 6 years and 4 months that he got was extra for sitting in jail 6 and 4 months. Exactly 86 and 4 months. Because the Rebbe once told that to another Chassid who was 20 years in jail, the Rebbe told him, he came when he was 70, finally he came to America, he came to the Rebbe told him, oh, you're going on the way back to Europe, you should stop there, you should do this, you should go there, you should do that. He tells the Rebbe, I'm 70 years old, I'm tired, I was 20 years in jail, like, I want to relax. The Rebbe told him that 20 years in jail are not counted. The man lived to be 100 years old. Simple as that. In Jerusalem, I know him very well, there is a street in Jerusalem on his name. The 20 years were not accounted. My father lived to be 86 and 4 months. It's unbelievable. We only discovered that after he passed away exactly, we got the papers, how long he was in jail. 6 years and 4 months. But this is what happens when it's Ashlich al Hashem Yofcho. When you throw your burden on God, then God will take care of it. He will sustain you, not just give you food. Sustain is more than just give you the minimum, bare minimum. He will take care of you. That's what Chalkelecho means. Sustenance means more than just the minimum. He will never allow the righteous to falter. Falter, that's the right word? Falter, thank you. Maybe you read it. Go ahead. Number 24. For you,
O God, bring down to the netherworld murderous and deceitful men who will not live out half their days.
Will not live out half the days. This is Achitophel who did not live. In the King David says, where is this written? It's written somewhere around there. Where is this written? That we are living 70 years and 80 years. 80 years is already.
Oh, that's in the prayer book.
No, it's in the prayer books, in the book of Psalm.
It's in Moses, the Moses book.
No.
It is.
120.
No, it's in the Tefillah Moses.
Yeah, it's Tefillah Moshe, right?
Yes.
The Tefillah Moshe is 90 what? 91?
90.
90, I think 90, I think for them, something like this. Yeah, very good. 1 second, let's see if you're right.
It's 90. The span, it's number 10.
Number 10, yeah,
It's line 10 of
God
the,
bless you.
Pray.
Yeah, 265, it says here, the span of our life is 70 years, if it's strength, 80 years. King David actually lived 70 years. Thank God we are now getting closer to Moses' time, that we live until we are 120. Then a half of your life from 70 is 35, right? They, what's his name? Achitophel lived to be 33, and also Doeg. They didn't live even a half of their life. That's what King David gave them the blessing. And they didn't live a half of their lives, a half of their days. And I trust in you. That's the most important too. Va'ani eftach bo. I will trust in you. I will not just believe in you, I will trust in you. And that's why it's written on the dollar. The dollar, people who wrote on the dollar, they're Hasidim. Hasidim do not have to be necessarily Jewish. You know, in English, we say righteous Gentiles, right? The word for it in Hebrew is Hasid Umot Haolam, not Tzaddik Umot Haolam. The translation for righteous Gentiles in Hebrew, let's put it more correct. The translation in English is the wrong translation. The word in Hebrew is Hasid Umot Haolam. Hasid means a pious Gentile. That's a Chassid. That you can be a Chassid and not be Jewish, right? The people who wrote on the dollar, in God we trust, were Hasidic Gentiles. They understood the difference between God we believe and God we trust. Trust is throwing on God my package, and He will sustain me. Tell God, now it's your problem. Until now it was my problem, now it's your problem. You deal with it. Because ultimately we come to a point that we try everything, and that's what we have to, when we have this trust, Hashem gives us, Hashem takes care of us in this way too.